Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so I got sent a question that someone else came across, and it's interesting. I like it, and this can definitely help someone. So let me read the question, and then there's a little bit of backstory here, and then let's go ahead and talk about it and see what lessons we can pull out of it, or what ways we can help this person in the situation that they are in. So let me read it. So I'm going to start with a question first. So ultimately, it says, at what age is it responsible? Excuse me. Haha. No. At what age is it reasonable to expect a teenager to start contributing? And is it wrong to be apprehensive about getting a dog? I'm worried if I say yes and it doesn't work out, I'll end up being the bad guy later on. So let's get a little bit of backstory. Okay, my wife is a stay-at-home mom. It's her child from a previous marriage, but we've been together for 9 years. She works part-time from home on a side business, though honestly, it's more of a hobby because it doesn't bring in real income. Her daughter is 16 and barely helps around the house, so she doesn't cook, clean, do dishes, vacuum, or wash her own clothes. I get home at 8 o'clock at night and I clean the dishes from meals I don't even eat. Dinner is usually just left out on the counter for me, and then I also do my own laundry. So, long story short, her daughter wants to get a dog, and I'm nervous it's going to be another responsibility for my wife. I work 50 hours a week and I'm off on weekends, but I keep hearing from my wife about how the house is never clean and how many dishes she has to do. I try to help, but I'm tired from work too. Okay, so first things first, let's talk about the first question here. At what age is it reasonable to expect a teenager to start contributing? So I know that he's mentioning that this 16-year-old teenager is his wife, but the fact that he didn't mention anything about him having kids himself, maybe from a previous relationship or marriage, of his own. I'm just going to, and he didn't mention anything about other children, maybe between him and his current wife. So I'm just going to assume that he doesn't have children of his own. And so, yeah, I think that this is maybe his first parenting experience, even though it's been 9 years. So what we're going to talk about first is, at what age is it reasonable for teenagers to start contributing? Like, teenagers, they contribute based off of things that they should have already been doing as, let's say, toddlers. Um, they're by kids from pretty much the moment that they are able to walk. Excuse me. From the moment that they're able to walk, kids themselves start to contribute towards the household, aka maybe their own play area, their own room, maybe their bed, maybe trying to learning to find and match their own clothes for school or for daycare, cleaning up after themselves after they have finished eating, putting, making sure that they haven't left a mess on the table or whatever. So the fact that the teenager is not already contributing, that is an issue. Kids, from when they're 2, 3 years old, 4 years old, they're already contributing or should be already contributing towards the household. Again, using some of the things that I mentioned earlier. Also, it could be maybe cleaning up like their play area. So once they're done, let's just say they're playing with Legos or cars or whatever, or dolls. Once they're done, they should learn to clean up and tidy up their area, even if that means just taking all of those little bitty pieces and just throwing them in a bin. That's their way of contributing to the cleanup of the household, the cleanup of the play area or the playroom. So definitely wanted to just start there. And being 16 years old, this teenager should have already been contributing and cleaning up behind themselves. So I did see where it says she doesn't clean, she doesn't cook, she doesn't do dishes, vacuum, or even do her own laundry. this kid is going to have a rude awakening when it's time for her to maybe graduate, leave the house, and maybe get her own place, her own apartment, or even maybe going to college. Let's just say if she chooses the college route and she has to stay maybe on campus in a dorm or maybe on campus housing of some sort. And she's going to feel like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? I don't know how to do any of this, or it's just going to be a mess. And so I definitely would highly suggest that these parents that they start having her, the teenager, doing these basic foundational chores, these things that every child should learn how to do as a part of them becoming an adult. An adult that contributes to society, even if that means, starting at home with themselves, their own apartment, their own dorm, whatever. So she's yeah, she definitely needs to start contributing right away, because otherwise this is going to be could possibly become a situation of a spoiled teenager or a spoiled human being that yeah, that turns to, other issues once they become a young adult and an adult. So let's see, the next point that I may want to bring out from the little backstory that we have. So is it wrong to be apprehensive about getting a dog? No. I mean, you've already seen, I feel like the question, and this is what happens with a lot of questions that are asked. I believe that a lot of times people ask questions just to get permission, so to speak, from others, just so maybe because they're not quite confident in what they do truly know deep down inside what the right answer is or should be. And so the question about is it wrong to be apprehensive? Absolutely not. You're apprehensive because of the what's being shown. The teenager is showing you what she will do, what she won't do. And we're talking about just cleaning up behind herself. But a dog, she has to now clean up behind a dog. And if she's not even cleaning up behind herself, then the apprehension that's there is valid because it makes you now then wonder, man, if she's not cleaning up behind herself, 9 times out of 10, she's not going to clean up behind a dog, which will then roll those responsibilities or that work over to my wife and actually even yourself to some degree. It's going to roll over to you whether or not you're the one that's actually walking the dog or buying the dog food and taking the dog to the vet, somewhere between you and your wife. Like, I don't know how those responsibilities may be divided up, but at some point, if it affects your wife, it's going to affect you, whether it be directly or indirectly. So the apprehension that is there is very valid, and it's because you're seeing the fruits of the lack of her labor. And you're seeing who she is, how she is, currently just with the basics of a household, but then to another add another mouth that needs to be fed, another thing or being that needs to be cared for. She hasn't shown or proven based off of what you've written, she hasn't shown or proven that she is ready for that responsibility because a dog, that's a big responsibility. So then my next thing of a suggestion would be one, maybe start smaller. Start smaller because the idea of having a dog and having a pet, it seems nice, but there's a lot of work that comes with it. And so have you considered maybe starting small, meaning like an animal that is low maintenance or less maintenance, whether it be like fish in a fish tank or maybe like a small gerbil or hamster, um, a rabbit, maybe guinea pig. A, Trying to think of other standard, easy entry level type of pets. But yeah, anyway, I think you get the idea. But yeah, starting small, maybe with some other type of animal, and let her show and prove, what she is going to do, and her level of being responsible with this new thing, this new being. So let me see what else was there. I'm looking back through the notes because his concern is that he'll end up being the bad guy later on. As a parent, you can't be concerned. Yes, let me speak on this. As a parent, you cannot be concerned with being the bad guy, whether it be you're the mom or the dad. You cannot be concerned with being a bad guy when you are the adult. You are the one that has the experience. You're the one who has the forethought. You're the one who has the knowledge and the years of wisdom over your children, or in this case, your child. But speaking to everyone right now, yeah, we can't be concerned about being the bad guy when we are making decisions that we know is for the greater good, that we know is what's best for the household and or what's best for our child or children and their progression and their growth and their development. It's okay if you feel like the bad guy, but I understand his question coming up because he mentioned it multiple times that in various ways he mentioned that it's his wife's daughter, her daughter. And so I get that thought process coming from him, and that little feeling coming from him of like, but I don't want to be the bad guy. But hey, you're the head of the household. With him being the guy, he's the head of the household. And so this is just you needing to take that leadership step, that leadership position, and say, hey, this is what it is. Either A, you're not ready for a dog until you start getting with the program here in the house. There's no reason why you are a 16-year-old teenager that is not picking up after yourself. And your mom and I, we're both exhausted doing our part, and you need to do your part because this is a part of growing up. This is a part of maturing. This is a part of developing and learning certain things at certain ages, certain milestones as we grow up. There's certain milestones that every person needs to learn in order to be well-rounded by the time they are an adult that's out here contributing to society. So it sounds like this teenager needs to be sat down and talked to and just really saying, hey, sure, let that be the reward. I'm all for creating or taking advantage of the situation where whatever is being asked for, especially, by children or whatever is being asked for, let's turn it into a way of how it's being earned. Because at the end of the day, she has to earn this pet. She has to earn getting a dog. Um, she has to show that she understands responsibilities, that she's going to be responsible, and that she is ready to be responsible and to start contributing to the household. She has to earn that, in my opinion, because otherwise, this dog will end up being your dog and your wife's dog, and she's just going to be playing with it. But y'all are going to be the ones that ends up doing all of the behind the scenes things. So hopefully this was helpful to the person that asked the question and to anyone else that came across this topic, this particular video. And if there's a way that you can relate to it, hopefully this was very helpful to you. If this video can be helpful to someone else that share it to them, send it to them, let them benefit from hearing the points and the thought process that was spoken of within these last few minutes. If you have a question that of your own or something that you came across and you want me to speak on it and give my perspective, my answer on it, feel free to submit it to me, just like this person did here. If you go into the description of the video and look for the link, it should be one of the first two links that says Ask Coach Enrgy, and that is where you would be able to present your situation or your scenario, or one that you have found that you believe would be a great teachable moment to either yourself or others that are also watching this channel and are a follower of this channel. So until next time, let me say thank you to the person that submitted this particular question. Until next time, I will talk to you all soon. Bye.